to the meat and potatoes of the podcast and talk about Adolescence. So, Adolescence is a 4-part Netflix drama and is centered around the aftermath of 13-year-old Jamie's arrest for the murder of his classmate, Kate. Each hour-long episode is filmed in a long, continuous shot, thus heightening the tension and the drama in each episode. And this show has really sparked a lot of conversations online in regards to, internet culture, in regards to the manosphere, red pill content, alt-right wing influencers, and everything in regards to that. And I remember when I first started watching it, like the first episode, when they stormed that boy's house, they broke down that door, I was like, man, he did it. Because they don't do that for people who are innocent. They don't do that if they're not sure. They only do that if they're like, yep, go get him. Go get him.
I agreed. I was like, this is a lot for a 13-year-old. I was like, so he had to, they really came in like he was a dangerous. And I was like, oh, he has to have done this because they broke down his house for a 13-year-old. Like, it wasn't like this when they were looking for a 33-year-old man. Like, they were looking for a child. So, but it still took them to break down a door, to go through that house like it was nobody's business. So they knew what they were looking for, and they were very sure that they had the right person.
Yeah. And in watching this show, I was actually surprised because so much of the show feels very real. And I appreciate that about a lot of shows because there are a lot of popular shows on Netflix in regards to true crime and things of that genre. And they do tend to be a bit dramatized. They do tend to do a little too much. And this show, it felt like they're really taking it very seriously with the content that they're presenting, because it's not something where they're trying to do it for drama or do it for clicks or they're doing it for shock value, but they're presenting this as if it's a real case. Like, Jamie is someone that you possibly know, and this is a situation that could actually happen. And they're presenting it in a way where it's real life and true to form, and thus shooting it with the long continuous shots where the camera just pans to people. There are no cuts, so there's really no time to breathe. There's no time to really take a break. You are stuck in this story with everybody else, and you're feeling everything that's happening. And while I was watching it, I was just like immersed. By the time we get to episode 3, I was like, oh, it's almost over. I was like, dang, it moves quickly. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. By the time you get to episode 3, you're like, wow, this is like a lot has happened in 3 episodes, and now it's about to end. So how is this going to end? Like, where's this going? But yeah, those long continuous shots are so important to the story because it adds that like tension. Like, you see, like, immediately when they're busting down this 13-year-old's door all the way through the end where you see what happened, it's like you're finally taking a deep breath. Like, you're finally like, oh my gosh, he did do it. So wild story from the very beginning to the end. And they definitely keep your emotions high as you watch every single episode. They chose perfect moments to like lead to the next, perfect parts in the story to tell the whole story, which I loved with it.
Yeah. So from episode 1, I really did find it interesting because when you're first just watching the show, our first instinct is to question whether or not Jamie has done it. This is a 13-year-old boy. He's fairly young. He looks very scared. His parents are worried. So, of course, you automatically sympathize with him, and you're thinking, maybe he didn't do it. Maybe the wrong person. But in the manner of which everything has gone down, in the manner of which they are treating him like he's a criminal, it's giving the impression that, like, they are probably not far off. They have something on this kid. They're operating from a place of certainty. Like, listen, the kid's saying he didn't do anything wrong, he didn't do anything wrong, he didn't do anything wrong. You must have done something wrong. Because they're not doing this. Yeah. Like, they're not doing this when they're just so-so. It's like, no, we got something. Yes.
Yeah, the way they were talking to him when he sat down, even when the investigator came out and talked to his parents, like, he gave them exactly what they needed to do. But the whole time, because he's like this little scared 13-year-old, you are like, maybe he didn't do it, maybe he didn't do it. But the way he is talking to everybody, the investigator is talking to everybody, it's like, no, this is what you need to do. And this, he even told him how to get a lawyer. Like, this is your next step, because like you're going to jail.
Yeah.
You're not coming back here. So he would just
Yeah.
need his acceptance of it, but he already knew what was happening.
Yeah. And I feel like while watching it, of course, because I already kind of know what the show is about from what people talked about online. So from the very first episode, I'm like, I'm trying to pick up clues. I'm trying to see what's
Mm-hmm.
going on, you know? And when he asked for his dad instead of his mom, the mom was immediately like, why do you ask for you? And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, ooh, that had to hurt. And of course, like, if you're just watching it for someone who didn't know what's going on, you're just like, oh, well, maybe he just wants his dad because, like, sons are sometimes closer to their dad. That's fine.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like, does he not trust his mom to be able to, like, help him out in the situation? But also, like, in my head, I'm like, I mean, the dad can be there, but what you need is the lawyer. Like, the whole time watching, I was like, where is the solicitor? Where is your lawyer? Stop talking to these people.
Stop talking at all. You don't need to say anything. But yeah, I do think
Idiots.
that the him picking the dad was like the first hint in the series as to like what was to come. But it wasn't when that would naturally just catch you off guard because it's like, oh, just you had to pick a parent, just pick a dad. Like, yeah, of course. But later it makes a lot more sense as you like continue to learn about Jamie and why he did it and that he actually did do it and all the other stuff. So
Yeah. And when they start questioning Jamie, it I have to say it's kind of tough to watch because how scared he is and how worried he is. But the police are just approaching it in a way where it's like, listen, I know he's 13, I know he's young, but he is.
capable.
Mm,
Yeah.
we see what he's capable of, so we're going to treat him in that manner. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. But as that watcher, you automatically just want to feel sympathy for him because he's a kid. But like the way they treat him, and it's like consistent. Like we know he did this. Like we're very certain he did this, and he is this type of kid. So he can cry all he wants to, and I'm going to give him all his information. But at the end of the day, we are not letting this kid out with the rest
Mm-hmm.
of them.
I think it was the moment when like Jamie gets strip search, and you can kind of see on the dad's face, like, okay, this is not just asking some questions. Like something is going on. Like we should start getting worried right now. And I love that the camera, in certain moments where things are happening, it's zooming in on the dad. Like the dad is trying to process everything. He's trying to be strong. He's trying to stay calm. He's trying to be his emotional anchor. Because Jamie's a little
Mm-hmm.
boy. He wants his dad there to help him out. But of
Yeah.
course, the dad is freaking out because it's like, my son is being arrested and these people are treating him like he's a criminal. Like something is going on here and I'm in the dark. And when that moment happens, of course, I was just kind of like, ooh, this is real. Like
Mhm.
we're not playing no games.
Yeah. He was thinking of him as a teenager and like his kid, but the investigators were thinking of him as like this teenage killer. Like they just had totally different views on it on who this kid was. And I feel like the first episode is where you have to shift your view because you're going in automatically assuming he's like an innocent. Oh, this is just he didn't do it. Like there's no
Mm,
way.
mm,
And I feel like that's what you see from the dad, like just confusion as like what's going on, why is this happening. But the him choosing the dad was a good indicator, and then the way the investigators talked to him was like an indicator of no, this is serious, something happened here. So
So they start the formal interview, and the detectives reveal that Jamie has made some, explicit comments about female models on Instagram, and this is when. This is when I'm watching it. I'm like, I am so glad I am not. My digital footprint is minimal because let me get arrested. And so it starts pulling up my tweets. Like, no, 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 no. Listen,
Instagram comments and all.
no, anything I post online, I didn't mean it. Please, officer, let me go. Like, it's just a joke. It's a joke. JK, JK, okay? But when they start, pulling that stuff up, I'm just like, ooh, because, like, he's 13, he's a kid, and, like, I have a younger brother, too. So there are times when he was younger, and I was worried about him being on the phone. I was like, what are you doing? And sometimes I just see him watching sports highlights, and I'm like, why am I even worried? Like, I don't have to overthink it. But you see that stuff, and it's like, you really don't know
Yeah,
what these
it's in. Yeah.
yeah, you know what they're doing on their phones.
Yeah, you don't know what they're doing on their phones, and clearly they did not. They had no idea what he was doing on his phone or what was coming to his phone. Like, I don't know if they did. I don't know if they hinted at like if his parents were like, those like helicopter parents who check your Instagram or not. If they just had never even seen it, but he was definitely saying some off the wall crazy things online that would have caused for pause for any parent. I think if had they looked and saw that, but I don't even think they had no idea. They thought they had this nice little 13-year-old innocent child.
If my son was saying those things online, his screen time would be an hour at most. Because you gonna have to learn to restrain yourself. You're not talking to nobody that way.
Yeah, especially it wasn't even just like random people. Like he was talking to people in his class like that. It wasn't. He was comfortable enough to do it online, and I don't know. The red flags were definitely online for him. The Instagram, social media, and I feel like that's a common theme we're seeing now that people are growing up with social media. I feel like when we were kids, it was introduced, I guess, like middle schoolish, and so now, like to be a kid and growing up in that, it's like a whole different experience to be able to be online and make comments at 13 that nobody, I guess, ever sees. So you can get on all types of crazy stuff like that, but they had no idea what they were
with. Yeah. So obviously the police, they started questioning about Katie and talking about his relationship with her. And mind you, during the interview, whenever they start asking certain questions that he feels like he should answer, he just says no comment. And in my head, I'm like, that's good. That's good. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. But of course,
stop talking, please.
Stop talking. Close your lips. But when they started asking about Katie and his classmates, he starts talking a little bit more because he feels like he needs to defend himself, like he has done nothing wrong. He doesn't see that he's done anything wrong. And when the solicitor asks for a break, that's what I'm like, exactly. Let's take a break. Let's get an orange juice. And then the dad's like, no, he's fine. He hasn't done anything wrong. And I'm like, hook, line, and sinker. You just sealed the deal. Because when they pulled out that laptop, they showed the video. I was like, oh, they asked him, Jamie, do you know what CCTV is? I was like, CCTV? Oh,
yeah,
it's done.
CCTV. The fact that you did that in the middle of the open, like that was like a 13-year-old thought because you didn't even think about your surroundings. Like it was just a automatic anger for you. There's cameras everywhere in 2025, sir. Like, clearly someone saw you. You didn't even think they would see you at all.
Yes. So they show the video, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm the kind of person where I'm like, ooh, let me just. They showed the video. They showed the whole video. So of course the dad sees it, the solicitor sees it, Jamie sees it, and it's so tough because like near the end, when Jamie I think is trying to like hug his dad or like reaches for him, he kind of recoils, but then they hug, and it's so hard because afterwards, after watching the video, his dad starts crying, and shout out to the actor because when he was crying, he was like crying, like sorrowful. And I can't watch shows like this sometimes because it's just a little too much, but like when the actor's giving, it's like you're giving everything. Yeah. Because how do you react to something like that as a parent?
Yeah, especially because we know he sat there and was like in confusion as to why he was even there in the first place. Like he probably in his mind, this was like a mistaken identity thing. And so I feel like that moment when it was all like solidified, it was like heartbreaking because that was like, what else could you do after that? Like, not only did he do it, they have him on camera doing it. So like you see him doing it, like you see what he's now capable of. So having to then take that and bring that back to your family, like, no, he did do it. Actually, we're here for a reason.
Yeah. And when the episode first started, I thought, well, maybe Jamie has a classmate that looked like him because those young boys say, "Oh, kind of look the same." They all
I did say that. I was like, maybe he's got the wrong kid. Like that's really what that has to have happened.
They all have the same haircut. It's like maybe they are just questioning him. But
maybe he's covering for his friend. I don't know. Maybe it can't be him. He's in there crying his little eyes out. Like
he
knows he didn't do it.
Yeah. That was tough. That was hard. So, moving into episode 2, oh my gosh. So, it's like 3 days after the murder, and the cops go visit his school. And I already knew when they went to go visit his school, it was not going to go well, because kids don't like cops. They don't mess with cops.
No, it doesn't when they're looking at their Instagrams.
It's like, because obviously this is a talk of the school. Like, I feel like everybody whether it's middle school or high school, there was that one scandal that happened that you